Just a few days ago, Americans commemorated the horrific attacks of 9/11, perpetrated by bloodthirsty Islamic sadistic Nazis. Almost 3,000 innocent human beings were incinerated, along with hundreds of heroic, selfless first responders who ran straight into danger, desperately trying to save the lives of fellow human beings. The Biden administration thought it would be very meaningful to send a very blunt message to the Jews on this sad day. America lost 3,000 precious souls, but I, Joe, the great king of the land of Magog, I'm going to do everything in my power to ensure that Islamic bloodthirsty sadistic Nazis incinerate not a mere 3,000 but at least 30,000, and better yet, maybe even 300,000. Rahman al-Islam. The 9/11 monsters were Arabs, brought up in the extremist culture of Saudi Arabia. Their target was the people of the land they perceived as the great Satan. The monsters Biden wants to unleash are Persian Islamic mullahs, and their target, the people of the land of the little Satan, the Jews of Israel. But they both share the same sickening ideology. On the very day of 9/11, Biden released another $6 billion so that Iran could have enough funds to finish creating their diabolical nuclear weapon, which they openly proclaim will be used against the Jews. Only a moron could believe that this exorbitant amount was bequeathed solely to get back 5 hostages. First of all, America agreed to release the same number of Iranian hostages, and that was all that was needed to make a deal. Moreover, if anyone thinks the cold-blooded Biden cares about hostages, you probably have been drinking or sniffing something. He left behind thousands of Americans in Afghanistan and tens of thousands of Afghani allies for absolutely no reason at all. And he abandoned half the local population, 20 million Afghani women, to be subjugated, humiliated, and treated like garbage. He also gifted the savage cavemen of Afghanistan $80 billion worth of sophisticated American arms and equipment to assist them in their holy work. No. This man could not care less about other human beings, whether they have American citizenship or not. This cold-blooded creep of a man released the funds because he is bent on destroying the state of Israel. A few months ago, he released $3 billion and now another $6 billion. Now Iran has all it needs to continue its mad rush to get the bomb before a responsible Republican takes over the Oval Office. Conservative and right-wing commentators are spending all their time pointing our attention to Biden's blunders and declining mental capabilities. They talk and talk about his miserable policies, domestic and abroad. The open borders, the crime overtaking all the inner cities controlled by Democrats, inflation, the insane woke agenda, Hunter Biden's laptop, weaponizing the Justice Department and the FBI to take down a political rival, and all the other ugly stuff the Biden administration has been engaged in. However, all these issues are a distraction, and they pale in comparison to Biden's encouraging and financing the Hitlers of our generation. Imagine if Hitler would have called FDR and asked for billions of dollars to help build the concentration camps and the crematoriums, the trains and the tracks to bring the Jews from all over Europe to their final excruciating deaths. However, in order to make it look good, they agreed that the Nazis would release the few American prisoners. I'm not certain FDR would have declined the offer, but what I am certain is that this is exactly what Biden is doing. If you think I'm exaggerating and this is hyperbole, you need to open your eyes. I know this to be true because it was clearly predicted over 2,500 years ago. As we discussed at length in our previous video, number 35, it is practically written black and white in the book of Yechezkel that the United States and Iran will join forces to wipe out the Jewish state, Rahman al-Islam. And what is the pipsqueak pushover wimp Prime Minister of Israel doing about this? Instead of calling out Biden for who he really is, an unabashedly enemy of the Jewish state, just like his mentor Hussein Obama, Bibi chooses to call Joe the best friend of Israel and his personal best friend who he has had the privilege to know for decades. Bibi is running after Joe like a pathetic beggar just to have the honor of meeting with His Excellency, the King of Magog. And what exactly will occur at this meeting? Biden will lecture Bibi, just like a principal lectures an 8-year-old naughty student, on how to run a democracy, and how to treat the poor and innocent so-called Palestinians who murder Jews on a weekly basis. Biden openly displays his disdain and disgust towards the Prime Minister on a regular basis, but Bibi is tone deaf. Joe, in his infinite kindness, has agreed to allow Bibi to see his handsome face in a side room at the UN. And this meek midget of a man, Bibi, is running on all fours to bow down to his master, even while he is being spit upon and humiliated. The Biden administration is simultaneously trying to facilitate the entrance of Saudi Arabia into the Abraham Accords. You don't have to be especially bright to understand that Biden is not interested in doing anything good for Israel. He is using this as a carrot to entice the dumb Bibi to make massive and terribly dangerous concessions to the fictitious Palestinians, who are led by the same bloodthirsty, sadistic Islamic Nazis who perpetrated the 9/11 attacks. And the moron at Balfour Street is taking the bait. He believes this would be the crowning achievement of his 6 terms as Prime Minister, spanning over 15 years. He shook hands with Arafat, Yamach Shemoy. He shook hands with Abbas, Yamach Shemoy. He endorsed the 2-state final solution. He facilitated the rise of Hamas and Hezbollah to formidable armies who pose a very serious threat to the lives of millions of Jews in Israel. He allowed hundreds of thousands of Arabs in Yehuda and Shomron to arm themselves to the teeth with weapons stolen from the IDF and to threaten the Jewish state from within. Jewish blood is being spilled like water, and this big shot and big mouth is doing nothing and saying nothing so as not to antagonize his American masters. And now, as his crowning achievement, he wants to end his career by making major, irreversible concessions that will further put the lives of Jews in danger. On the very day of 9/11, Israel began implementing the visa waiver program with the United States. The anti-Semitic State Department are forcing Israel to allow potential terrorists into Israel without any background checks, and the moron Bibi thinks this is a great accomplishment. This doesn't sound like a very uplifting Jewish New Year's message, but it actually is. In fact, if it wouldn't be happening, it would be scary. It is clearly prophesied that right before the Messiah comes, America and Iran will attempt to destroy the Jewish state. These are the evil empires we refer to in our prayers during these holy days. And then, when the final redemption unfolds, the righteous will see and be glad, the upright will rejoice, and the pious will jubilate in song. Injustice will shut its mouth, and all the wickedness will go up in smoke, when you, God, will remove the rule of evil from the face of this earth. And in the Avinu Malkeinu prayer, we say it over 20 times in these 10 special days, from Rosh Hashana to Yom Kippur. We beseech God, Avinu Malkeinu batel machshavei seinenu, Avinu Malkeinu hafer atzasevenu. Our Father, our King, quash the evil plans of our enemies. Our Father, our King, disrupt the malicious schemes of our enemies. It is hard to imagine that the United States of America, which was founded upon such beautiful biblical foundations of justice and goodness, would descend so low as to be an agent of Satan and to wage war against God and the Messiah. Yes, that's exactly what this is, a war against God and the Messiah, as King David describes the war of Armageddon preceding the final redemption in Psalm chapter 2. The dark and sinister role is hinted to in the seemingly benign nickname, Uncle Sam. Sam in Hebrew is Samach Mem, the Kabbalistic term for Satan. But we have no fear from Joe, king of Magog, and all his Jew-hating allies in Persia and elsewhere. We know this is meant to be. It's all black and white in the prophecies, and we know the end of the story even before it happens. As we say further in the prayers we recite during these holy days, V'sim lo yichatuhu Hashem Elokeinu meheru levadecha al kol maasecha, ba'ar Tzion mishkan keveidecha v'Yushalayim ir kodshecha, ka'kosav v'divrei kodshecha yimlech Hashem lo'olam, Elokayich Tzion l'der v'der hallelujah. When the Messiah comes, you, only you, our God, will reign over the entire world, from Mount Zion, the abode of your glory, in Jerusalem, your holy city, as it is written in your holy scriptures in Psalms 146. God will reign forever, the God of Zion, till the end of time. Praise Hashem. As we enter the Jewish year of 5784, only 4 years remain till the final deadline for the coming of the Messiah. I have already put a widget on my phone counting the days. 1,475 days left, and that is the deadline. It may very well happen much, much sooner. Please don't be foolish and don't waste one single day with trivial things. Fill your days with kind and charitable deeds, the study of our precious Torah and the observance of our beautiful mitzvot. Wishing all my listeners, all the Jewish people and all of mankind, Gemar Chasima Tova L'Shana Tova U'Mesuka. May you all be inscribed and sealed for a beautiful and sweet new year in every way.